count for much. Who knows why things start to imprint themselves on our brains? A field of clods, a horse. I still like to see a plow turn up rich earth. I still own horses and like to ride. Does any of this mean anything? Why did my father bring this up in the first place? Apparently, he was just fascinated. You should understand that Doc Blakely frequently tunes into the ethereal. One day we crossed Hamilton Creek on our way to my little ranchito, the Rancho Quien Sabe, and stopped on the old bridge there to watch surging floodwaters boil down the usually brook-like creek. "That's amazing," he said. "Imagine that much water. Where does it all come from?" "Well," I began, "this creek drains a lot of country. It's steep, rocky country, too. Doesn't soak up the rain like loamy soils on level ground. It runs off. We got a good 3-inch downpour in less than an hour, and the ground was already saturated from that rain a few days ago." I figured he'd appreciate all this, seeing as how he had once run a soils testing laboratory. But instead, he quoted my grandfather in a familiar phrase that always seemed ill-constructed, yet somehow brilliant in its scope. "Nothing's ass, boy. It's a mystery." Then I understood. Not every question needs answering, especially by the likes of me. My father had wanted to be fascinated by the volume of water swirling under us. It was the same way with his musings about his earliest memory. Perhaps there was no point to it. It was just fascinating somehow, mysterious. Why would he choose that as his first memory? Or why would it choose him? A couple of years after my dad and I talked about our earliest memories of life, I went to visit my grandfather, Jim B. Blakely, who at the time was living in Freer, Texas, in his late 80s. Born in 1906 in Indian Territory, the year before it became Oklahoma, he is now 94 years old and still ornery as ever. When I visit my grandfather, I like to get him talking about life in the old days. It usually doesn't take much prompting. He especially likes to talk about the Great Depression, I guess simply because he survived it, and went on to become a wealthy man one of the hardest ways known to man, welding and machine shop owner in the South Texas oil patch. I have no real concept of how bad things got during the Depression, except for the earnest accounts of my grandfather. Jim B. Blakely left Rush Springs, Oklahoma, about 1935, and drifted south through Texas, looking for work. He had a wife and year-old son, my father. He worked for a while on the Lake Buchanan Dam, pushing wheelbarrows full of rocks up a board ramp, but got fired by a boss he didn't get along with. He opened a barbecue joint in Burnett for a while, but few people had the money to buy restaurant fare, even barbecue. He asked a banker in Burnett for a loan so he could go on looking for work, and the banker loaned him $50. He went back 50 years later, found that retired banker, and thanked him for the loan. According to my grandfather, the first thing the former banker said was, "Did you ever pay me back?" Anyway, he drifted south looking for work, and stayed for a while at a place outside of Gonzales, where somebody let him and his wife and son live in an old vacant farmhouse. While living there, he heard of work in San Antonio and hitchhiked to the Alamo City. Unfortunately, he found no jobs in San Antonio and had to walk back to Gonzales in defeat. My grandfather is a good storyteller. Many of his tales I have heard several times. But this memory he told me only once, on that day. As he told me about this experience, he made me feel almost as dejected as he must have felt coming home to a house that wasn't even his, to tell his